Hi again, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. It's time to preview the Whitney Handicap, the $1.5 million race at the Spa, now the richest race at Saratoga this summer for older horses. It's a field of 9 highlighted by the even money morning line favorite, Malice. But let's start on the rail with number 1, Will Take Charge, 4-1 morning line for Luis Saez and trainer D. Wayne Lucas. Will Take Charge, like Saratoga, was the runner-up last year in the Jim Dandy, came back to win the Travers, nosing out Marino right at the wire. Horse is coming out of a second-place finish in the Stephen Foster, but the horse comes back to Saratoga, reunites with Luis Saez. You cannot ignore that stat because Luis Saez has never been worse than second when riding Will Take Charge. I know D. Wayne Lucas is not overly thrilled about breaking from the rail, but Will Take Charge is definitely in the top tier of this group, and he has to be on your A group in the Whitney Handicap. Number 2 is Prayer for Relief, a long shot for Dale Romans and Joel Rosario, 20-1 morning line. Prayer for Relief is over 6 so far in 2014, and he has shown up in some big-time stakes races, but this seems like a very difficult spot to try to pick up his first win of 2014. Hasn't won a race since December of 2013, and it's good to see this horse in the race, and if you like Prayer for Relief and he comes in, you will get paid. But this horse just seems to be a notch below the top tier horses in the Whitney Handicap. Number 3 is Marino, 10-1 morning line. Junior Alvarado rides and trainer Eric Guillo. Marino nearly went wire to wire in the Travers last year at 1.25 miles at Saratoga, and it was a huge race out of Marino, who was a big price last year in the Travers. But it was such a speed favoring track last year on Travers Day. I think that aided Marino to running as well as he did. I still think he's a talented horse, but that speed bias definitely helped Marino last year in the Travers. We will see what kind of track we get on Saturday with the Whitney. There is some chance of rain in the forecast on Saturday, so we'll see whether or not we have a fast track or an off track come post time for the Whitney. And Marino will be on the lead in this race, but I don't think he will be loose on the lead. I think he will get pressed more than people expect in here, and for that reason, I don't see him going wire to wire in the 1.125 Whitney. He's still a nice horse, and he's 10-1 in the morning line. My gut feeling is he will be bet down a bit from that 10-1 morning line price because people will look at what he did last year at Saratoga, but I think he will have a tough time wiring this field in the Whitney. Number 4 is It's My Lucky Day, 12-1 morning line. Paco Lopez and Edward Pliza, the trainer. This was a horse on the Triple Crown Trail last year. Ran second in the Preakness, coming out of a win in the Salvatore Mile, going into this year's Whitney Handicap. I just think this distance is the biggest question mark with It's My Lucky Day. He's a good horse, no question about it. But when you have distance questions against this caliber of a field, that is tough to overcome. If you're playing multi-race wagers, I would probably avoid It's My Lucky Day. But if you're looking at this race alone, I think It's My Lucky Day could still get a piece underneath, maybe 3rd or 4th. Number 5 is the favorite, even money, Malice. Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez came back to win the Met Mile after winning the Belmont Stakes last year as a 3-year-old. That is not an easy thing to do, to go 1.5 miles and win as a 3-year-old, turn around a year later and win the Met Mile in such a contentious field of 12 that was on the Belmont undercard back in June. And now he gets back to a more suitable distance, I think, for him going 1.125 miles. He had some trouble at the starting gate, breaking from the gate as a 3-year-old, but now that he's matured a year later, he's really put those issues to rest. No value at even money, but he's a horse that's just too hard to ignore in here, and I'm not trying to beat him in the Whitney Handicap. You need to have him on your tickets, whether you're playing this race straight up, whether it's multi-race wagers. I know, again, you won't be making much money with Malice, but he is training well, he's in great form, and he is definitely the horse to beat in this race, as evidenced by that even money morning line odds. Number 6 is Departing for Robbie Alvarado and Albert Stahl, 6-1 morning line. Horse coming out of a 3rd place finish in the Stephen Foster. I think this horse has a legitimate chance. Does have 3 wins in 6 starts at 1.125 miles. Has shown up in a lot of big-time races. Was in the Preakness last year, although did finish off the board. This is a horse I like in here. And 6-1 could go either way by post-time, whether or not the public will bet him or not. The one concern with Departing, never has run a race over a wet track. And by Whitney time, in late Saturday afternoon, we could have some rain at Saratoga. So I'd like to have some horses in here with experience over a wet track, but Departing I still think is a major factor in this race and is a horse that I will be using in the Whitney. Number 7, Romance, 10-1 morning line for Tom Albertrani and Jose Ortiz rides. This horse, 2 back in the Met Mile, ran a great third, was nearly 20-1 in the Met Mile, was rallying on the outside, just could not get past Palace Malice or Golden Sense, and then came back and was heavily bet in the Suburban and just did not fire, finishing 5th in that race. I think you can put an X to that race for Romance. Gets back to a mile and an eighth. I think a distance Romance will like. And it's just a matter with Romance what horse shows up. And at 10-1 in the morning line, I'm willing to take a gamble with Romance. I think he'll be a good price in here. If he shows up, he is right in contention with the A group of this field. But there is that concern if he does have an off day. I will say he does have one win in his lone start over a wet track, which is good to see. Romance is a horse I will use, and also note the jockey Jose Ortiz is riding just phenomenal at Saratoga right now, up near the top of the jockey standings. So Romance at 10-1 is a horse at a price that I look forward to using in the Whitney Handicap. And we will round it out with the final 2 horses in the field. Number 8, Golden Ticket, 20-1 morning line for Julian Leparoux and Kenny McPeak. 2 years ago was one of the horses involved in a dead heat with Alpha in the Travers. This could be a horse for the course play for Golden Ticket. Also does have some experience over a wet track. But sort of like Prayer for Relief, I think Golden Ticket is just a notch below the top tier horses in this field. And we will round it out with Last Gunfighter for Javier Castellano and Chad Brown. Last Gunfighter, like Romance, was a horse taking a lot of money in the Suburban. That was on July 5th at Belmont Park and finished almost last in the field, finished ninth of an 11-horse field in the Suburban. However, did win a race 2 back. Does have 3 wins and 4 starts at this distance of a mile and an eighth. But to me, it just appears this horse is a notch below horses like Palace Malice and will take charge. All right, so it's time for my picks in the Whitney. I will put Palace Malice on top, Romance second, Departing third, and will take charge fourth. So 5, 7, 6, and 1 for me in the Whitney Handicap on Saturday at Saratoga. Don't forget, on my blog, bills2cents.com, I have a value play for each and every day of racing at Saratoga. In addition to that, I give out a late pick 4 play every single Saturday. And on Whitney Day, we have a guaranteed pool of $750,000 in the late pick 4. So be on the lookout for my pick 4 play on the blog and the value play each and every day this summer at Saratoga. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day at the races.